Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Saturday, the 17th of June. I am Flat Cap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. All right, we've got an upload, technically a Friday night upload for Saturday's racing rather than the usual Saturday morning. I was thinking I was going to get it done quicker, and so I thought I'll leave it. I won't leave it till Saturday morning. I'll get it done. It means I don't have to think when I get up in the morning I've got to go and make a video. Albeit it's actually taking me a bit longer than I thought. So on paper it doesn't look like the best Saturday. But depends where you look. I've been going in caves, climbing up trees, seeing what I can find. I've got kind of 6 kind of core races in sort of Sandown, York in the middle, and then I've found 8 other horses in 8 races that I don't think most people would look in. It's turned out a little bit interesting. They could all be absolute duffers, who knows? But eight horses in unusual races at double figure prices. That's what I found to go with my core bets from York and Sandown. So I'm going to go through that. First race is the unlikely 145 Downpatrick. It's the only horse I've got in Ireland. That will be the first one. Before we do that, I'll do the review of Friday, and I'll also do a word on the golf at the end. Okay, Friday. It was looking awful, and we managed to scramble our way to almost break even. And I think if you were 365... and you've probably got some better prices and a bit of bog, I think that was probably enough to come out marginally ahead, I think. So it's one of them days where no one's going to get very excited, but personally I was really, really pleased to get back to not lose stake, because it wasn't looking great at one point. So we started off here, this UK bet, and it just was pants, to be honest. Nothing really was very good at all in that bet. And some were out just terrible. New Day Rel, I've put something in the comments here, and I was having a conversation with Mark, who's a regular commenter, as well about this. I've had a couple of different conversations. I think that horse, it dropped down to back down to a mile. I think 10 furlongs too much. A mile, 7 furlongs, and go from the front. I think they changed tactics to try it out, and it didn't settle. It wants to go from the front and burn up. And that's how that horse should be run, I think. But generally, bet one was pants anyway. So we'll have to see next time New Day Rail comes out whether or not we'd back it or not. It all depends on the price, because the price is the guide to value. As I always say to you, price is not an indication of the horse's chances of winning. A price is the indication of the value of the horse. Because if you've done your own research and you have an understanding of how you think the horse is going to run, the price just tells you how much advantage you think you might have over the bookies, or disadvantage if you really like a horse, but actually it's like 5 to 1 on, and therefore everybody else likes it too. All right, we had the Cork bet. That was awful on debut. That was a terrible run on debut, that horse. That was a great one. That wasn't far off winning, I don't think. 18 to 1. Channel had a 10p rule 4 on it. Lady Skipper was disappointing. I had 4 horses in that race, and yes, I wish I'd put Hastily in this bet at 50 to 1, but I didn't. And then Sondheim ran a great race to be placed, so we were placed double on that one. But we did have a horse in that 7.45 we could have put in, and to be fair, there wasn't much in it as well, so it's a bit annoying. But such is life. We move on. Bet 3. No good, close but no good. That placed nicely, and that one didn't get near enough. So we had a place single with Western Cape. And then the bet that actually did the profit was this one. Although I did miscalculate. It said 368, it was 320, I apologise. So the total stake for Friday was £19.60, not £20 as advertised. But yeah, Hastily was the only one that managed to get placed at 50s, backed in a bit. I know I can. That was 7th, I think, and 6th would have been good enough for Sky, and then Cheeky Peak was 9th. They were all quite a bunch finish, so we weren't far off from getting a few of them in. And then Western Cape and Sondheim both placed, so it was a place double, and with Hastily at 50s. So That was the one that sort of got us some money back. I know some bookies, I think, maybe had a 5p or possibly even 10p rule 4 on that call, but Sky Bet didn't put a rule 4 on it. So it will vary from bookmaker slightly. So that was that. So I got it as 19.60 on in the end, £18 and 2p, so a 158 loss, which means we're going into the weekend still just above £40 profit for the week. We made £40 profit last week. So yeah, nice little place we're in. We will see how we get on for Saturday. So Saturday is, I should have said that up front, I didn't do that. £25 stake, 5 bets. So it is a stake and a quarter. Stake and a quarter is Saturday's bets. And then Sunday, we have to kind of see when we get there what the field sizes look like for Gorham Park. That's got some potential in there. So we'll see. Sunday looks like it's got a potential opportunities. It just depends on when we actually get to the Sunday, what the field sizes look like in some of these handicaps. All right, so Saturday's bets. Bear in mind, if you are new to this channel, everything I do is advised. I put bookmaker advice, but everything I do is recorded because it's through a Sky Bet account I specifically and only use for the channel. I don't use it for any other bets I'm doing. I don't have lots of Sky Bet accounts knocking about. It'd be brilliant if I did. All my own personal bets are placed with different bookmakers. The channel account exists purely for the channel. That is what it's for. So any bet on the channel is placed through the Sky Bet account. And so therefore all stats are recorded in that way. On certain bets, I will advise other bookmakers where I think the basically the place terms are either better or you're getting best price guaranteed. Hopefully that makes sense. So some days I'll be up, and as would anyone with a Sky account, because Sky are the best bookmaker for extra places usually. On other days, like today, I think 365 will win out. 365 are definitely the second best bookmaker at the moment. All right, I say that. Interesting. Bet one. Okay, this is not going to be everyone's first picks, I do not think. So 145 Downpatrick. We're going to start off here with an unraced horse on the jumps, which is not something I would usually do, and it's the only horse in Ireland. And I'll be honest, it's the price that's tempted me in the end. It's been drifting tonight, and 66 to 1. I was like, I can't really leave it alone. I think it's worth trying. So what I don't like about this horse is I don't like the fact it's unraced versus other horses that are raced. I don't like the trainer. Never met him. Never met Mr. Rothwell, but I don't like the trainer in terms of he's not someone who who has a particularly good strike rate. In fact, he has quite a terrible strike rate, certainly for win point of view, in maiden company. So it's the type of trainer whose horses run through a few races, and then when they get to handicaps, they suddenly step up. I don't like the fact the horse was bought cheaply either. Parking all that, the breeding of the horse I do really, really like, and the price I really, really like because it presents value. So from a breeding point of view, all of this horse's siblings or half siblings have all won races over jumps. That's a good sign. One of the half siblings has won over Downpatrick, and Downpatrick can be a funny old track. So there's something in the genes maybe that says that Downpatrick's okay. Most of the other siblings, to be fair, were trained in the UK, whereas there was one that was trained in Ireland. And yeah, from a breeding point of view, it should turn out to be an okay racehorse. Basically, it's not in there as a donkey. Some of these, sometimes 66 to 1 shot unraced in a race like that, which is a really low quality race as well. You'd expect the form to say it was a donkey, but pedigree says that horse should jump fences to an okay standard. So I'm taking an absolute flyer on that one, even though I very well advertise what I don't like about it too. Then we've got 210 Chester Leodis Dream 18s. It's run 2 times well at Chester, and that's the kind of thing that's taken. It's a competitive race, but from a price point of view, there's a decent value in the 18s. Then the 345 Hexham, that is not a horse most people want to look at. It's a 13-year-old horse running over chasers for the first time in I can't even remember, like 4 or 5 years since it's run over a chase race. What's good about it is that it's on a really, really competitive handicap mark, and it's got decent course and distance form at Hexham, albeit not necessarily on the chase course, but from a hurdle point of view it has. So it likes the course, it likes the ground, it likes the distance. The question is, at 13, is it literally, is it done for now? Is it off to the knacker's yard? I mean, not. I don't mean that really. Like, is it going to a nice field of with lots of hay and stuff like that in it, obviously. But from a horse rate perspective, is it done for? Is this going to be its last race, or actually is there a little bit of mileage in the fact that it's running off marker 75, and that says that it's got a bit more potential because it's run at a much higher standard than that. So we're taking a chance on Archive on there. And then the 5 o'clock Chester Dahia, if you ignore its last run, then the form's actually quite solid and it shouldn't be double figure price. So, important things with here. Unibet, I've never said that before in this channel. This bet, these are all standard term races, so 3 places only on all 4 races with all bookmakers except Unibet. Unibet 4, 4 and 4. So, don't usually talk about Unibet. The disadvantage of Unibet, if you were betting on this at the moment, is the prices are worse than the average price in the market for all those 3 horses. So what you're gaining in an extra place, you are losing out in value point. But the fact that you've got 3 horses all with an extra place, I'd say if you've got a Unibet account, then put the bet on with Unibet. If you haven't got a Unibet account, maybe have a look, see what the offer is at the moment for Unibet accounts, because 3 races there with 4 places together, apart from the top one. It makes that a very, very interesting bet with Unibet, even though you're losing a few points from value. So I've done it as a 15p each way lucky 15, and I've got a 50p each way double on the bottom 2, which I think present the most value, Archive and Dahir. Not the biggest prices, the most value. 550 is your bet. That is bet 1. So that's bet 1, and I'll get to it. Bet 5 are the unlikely bets in terms of they're not what other people are looking at. Not that they're unlikely that anything will happen. Okay, then bet 2. We've got 2 o'clock York, Shake a Leg, 14s, 215 Sandown, Dutch Decoy, 17-2, 340 York, a big one in there, Northcliffe, 40-1. That is the best race for the day for value. 7 on Sky. A lot of bookies paying 6 on that 340. 525 Gantafar, we've taken it quite a few times. We've taken Dutch Decoy a few times. 10-1, 16p each way lucky 15. 480 is your bet. And what you've got in that York race, 7 on Sky, 6 places on 365 Hills, Betfair and Paddy. The problem with Paddy for Saturday, which is a big watch out for any multiples you might be doing, certainly my multiples. Paddy have a promotion on the 215 Sandown. Sky are 5, most bookies are 4, but Paddy are only 3. So if you are using a Paddy account on Saturday, don't put the 215 in your multiples is my advice. Just leave the 215 out because the place terms aren't favourable. Quarter of the odds first 3, I wouldn't want to go there in that race. It's just not worth it. So if you've only got Paddy, then mix up your bets. But the 215 Sandown's not a good race for Paddy unless you're doing the offer, which is money back, second, third, fourth if your horse doesn't win. So that is that one. So Sky Best 365 and then Hills or Betfair, and that'll be consistent with some of these bets. 215 Sandown, as talked about, don't do it on Paddy. Repertoire 9-1. 250 Sandown, Sky the only ones on 4 places for that one. Lady Hamama 16-1. 340 of split legged Eminency at 12s, Safari Dream at 28s. And then the last leg, 450 York, Eldrick Jones, 22-1. So it's 2 times 10p each way, lucky 15s. One's got Repertoire, Lady Hamama, Eldrick Jones and Eminency. And one's got Repertoire, Lady Hamama, Eldrick Jones and Safari Dream. 2 separate 10p each way, lucky 15s. Sky Best, then 365, then Hills or Betfair. So 365 Hills or Betfair, same place terms, but 365 you'll get bog in the morning on multiples. Hills and Betfair you won't. Just a reminder, bog, best price guaranteed, i.e. after 8 o'clock in the morning, whichever price is better, the price just before the race or the price you take, that's the one you get, and it can be very advantageous. Just annoyingly, like in the last sort of 12 months, it's changed on some bookmakers. So for Hills and Betfair, you don't get that on multiples. You do get that on singles at the right time of day. All right, that's £6. And then combination double, same as Friday. So I'm going a 2 and a 4 with 2 shorter prices in one leg and 4 big prices in the other. So it looks quite similar to what I did on Friday that came off. I'm not doing it just because it came off Friday. I'm doing it again. Hopefully most people appreciate the way that I do these staking plans. There's a lot of thought and goes into these things. So it might just be that there's 2 bets that look similar. It's not because I've gone, I'm just going, oh, that's what I did last time, it worked, I'll do it again. It doesn't work like that. So 2.15 Sandown, Dutch Decoy 17-2, repertoire at 9s, going into 4 big O's in the 3.40, King's Crown at 40s, that's not in any other bet, Northcliffe 40s, Zuki at 33s, which is not in any other bet, and Safari Dream at 28s. 8 times 20p each way doubles, 320 is your bet. Sky Best 365, Hills, and then Betfair. And then finishing off the other unexpected 4-horse bet. So I've got in here, these are all small fields really, so between 6 and 8 runners. So 230 Bath, I think it's 6 runners, maybe even 5, I think it's 6. 6 runners. Kraken Filly shouldn't be that price, 100% should not be that price. It ran a bad race last time, and if you ignore that fact, yes, it was at Bath on firm going, but actually it absolutely fluffed the start, and that's why it ran a bad race. Not necessarily because I didn't like the firm going at Bath. So yeah, easy should be half the price, Kraken Filly, so that's worth having in. 3.55 Chester Oman. It's not got much in terms of place form if you look at it recently. But what we have got there is you've got Franny Norton booked to ride it, who's a Chester specialist, loves going from the front. That horse has been ridden as a hold-up horse more recently. If you look back when it's ran well, it's run from the front. So I'm taking the indication that Franny Norton's booked to ride it, that they might take it from the front, and I think you might see a little bit better from that horse at 14-1. 5.05 Sandown, Arabascato, just don't see how that horse is that price. It should be about half that price. It's got a lot of decent back form. The only thing really is it's coming off a bit of a break. But if you accept that, then I think it looks like it's in a well overpriced really. And then the 6.25 Leicester Furnico 20-1. So 2 flag. This is 6 runners, 2 places everywhere. Then we've got the Chester 3.55. It's a 7 runner, so you can get 3 places with 3.65 Coral, Betfred, Sky, and Unibet. 5.05 Sandown is 8 runners, so it's standard terms. If you lose a runner, then we're going to be down to 2 places on that one. And then the 6.25 Leicester, same as the Chester race, 7 runners, 3 places available, 3.65 Coral, Betfred, Sky, and Unibet. So it's a 15p each way lucky 15 with a 50p each way double on Kraken Filly and Arabascato. So 3.65 Coral and Betfred when Bog kicks in are your best bookies, and then Sky or Unibet, they are the best bookies for that to bet. That being said, I would back all of those horses at standard terms, but why would I when there's 5 bookies that are paying 3 places on 2 of those races? All right, that is that. And then a word on the golf. We're going okay, I would say. We're going okay on the golf. I'm just going to pull up the current standings. So it's the side bet, Barclay Brown, top English. He's teetering on the edge. He's currently he's dropped out the top 3. So we really want him to basically not do that. So it looks like we might want him to make the cut at least. So I think he needs to be 2 over. So we'll see. He's got 12 holes to play. We've got a couple that look like they're pretty much done and out of it. But Dylan Wu's still flying a flag for us at 2 under. We've got Aaron Epcot, who's in the clubhouse at 1 under. And at the time of doing this, Kevin Streelman was sort of having a bit of a mixed round, but he could make 3 of them to make the cut. So if we've got 3 out of our main 5 making the cut at the prices we took, then I'll be very, very happy with that. So it gives us something to play for going into the weekend. We'll see. At the moment, it looks like we should definitely get 2. Streelman's the one we want to keep an eye on because he's only a couple of shots away. I think 2 overs good enough to make the cut. I don't think 3 overs going to be. But we will see. I'm just checking. Yeah, on current standings, it's going to be borderline between 2 over and 3 over, I think, is the cut mark. All right, that's the golf. That is me. If you're watching this before Free Bets has gone live, there should be a freebets.com video that goes live somewhere around 8:30, 9 o'clock as well, which will have an additional £10 staking plan for the day. All right, I will be back Saturday night unless you watch me on freebets.com. Have a lovely Saturday, and I will see you then if you're still wanting to carry on watching me. And if you do, I massively appreciate it. So thanks very much. All right, see you then. Bye-bye.